Southern Company has a vision of an equitable future. And every day, we put it in motion. We make it real by being the change. By committing $50 million to historically Black colleges and universities for scholarships, career development, and the Propel Center, a new global innovation hub. All to build inclusion and empowerment, both in our workforce and our community. It means bringing thought leaders and young minds together, making change today to create even more opportunities tomorrow. Southern Company, building the future of energy.
Hello, everybody. I'm so thrilled to join today's Black Enterprise Summit. And I want to thank Georgia's own Southern Company for presenting this important conversation and Black Enterprise for hosting it. Today's summit is a testament to the vital role diversity and inclusion plays in every area of our society, including our energy sector. The fact is, the more we see reflected in rooms like this, the richness and diversity of our communities, the more we are enabled to serve our communities. And so I'm thrilled that Black Enterprise and Georgia Power are leading the way in building a diverse talent pipeline that drives inclusive innovation in critical sectors like energy. That's evident not just by today's conference, but by your partnership and sustained commitment to investing in diversity and inclusion, moving our communities and our economy and our state forward. Black Enterprise has long been a beacon for Black business and entrepreneurship and has inspired countless people into the tech, financial, and energy sectors. And as a senator for Georgia, I commend Georgia Power's deep commitment to prioritizing diversity in the talent pool and keeping the talent pipeline strong, including your multi-million-dollar investment in HBCUs here in Atlanta and beyond. You know, I'm a proud graduate of Atlanta's Morehouse College, and I know firsthand the invaluable role that HBCUs have played and continue to play as we develop the next generation of leaders and innovators. And that's why I've worked in the Senate to strengthen federal support for our HBCUs so that they can increase their research and development capabilities, putting them in an even better position to keep the U.S. on the cutting edge of innovation. The only way we win is if we win together. And so I'm proud to work alongside Georgia Power and Black Enterprise to invest in our nation's tomorrow today by fostering the diverse talent and leaders who will push our companies, our economy, and our communities into a brighter future. Thanks again for inviting me to participate and to share just a few words of welcome. And I look forward to the words of wisdom that you're soon to hear from your CEO, my brother, friend, and parishioner, Chris Womack. Yes, Chris goes to church, and I know that he has words of wisdom for all of us today. Thank you so much for gathering in such an important moment, in such an important way. Thank you for inviting me to come by virtually and say hello. Know that you will always have a partner in me. Keep the faith and keep looking up.
Thank you, Senator Warnock, for those uplifting opening remarks. And thanks to all of you for joining us for today's exciting summit, Investing in Tomorrow, Today, sponsored by Southern Company. I'm so thrilled that Southern one of the nation's largest utility holding companies and a leading producer of clean, safe, reliable, and affordable energy, has partnered with Black Enterprise, the #1 Black digital media brand with more than 10 million monthly unique visitors, to produce this exclusive event where we're bringing together high-level officials in the private sector, government, and academia to discuss the future of energy, the development of a diverse talent pipeline, and the importance of investing in inclusive innovation. Hi, I'm Derek Dingle, Executive Vice President and Chief Content Officer for Black Enterprise, and I will be serving as the moderator for a series of sessions that will be both illuminating and inspirational. We launch our summit with a dynamic and transformative corporate leader, Christopher C. Womack, Chairman, President, and CEO of Georgia Power. In that role, he oversees Southern Company's largest subsidiary. This native of Greenville, Alabama, is a 35-year veteran of Southern and has held a number of impactful leadership positions throughout the company. In my conversation today, Chris will share his insights into the trends that will shape the future of the energy sector and other tech-driven industries, and the vital role companies like Southern play in producing a diverse talent pool that will evolve into tomorrow's business innovators and leaders. Chris, thank you for joining us. My first question is, last year you were named the Chairman, President, and CEO of Georgia Power, the first African-American CEO of the Southern Company. Can you share a bit of your journey, your career journey with our audience?
Derek, first, let me thank Black Enterprise and thank you. And I can't start anything involving Black Enterprise, but also paying my respects to Earl Graves, who was such a source of inspiration, a wonderful mentor of mine, a friend of mine, and somebody, as you know, who we spent a lot of time together. So this brings back fond memories of Earl as we do this. And clearly, my relationship continues on with Butch and Johnny and the whole crowd. And so it's a pleasure to be with you. And so, as I go through this journey and start this journey as CEO, I think about the past and a lot of things that I've done and the time that I have spent with this company and moving through so many parts of it and learning this business and understanding the energy industry. And so it's an exciting opportunity, and I've been having a blast serving in this capacity.
So as you look at the future, your role, what do you see as the future of energy? Where are the opportunities in terms of employment and entrepreneurship?
Well, Derek, this business is being heavily influenced by technology today. So there are a lot of new ideas, new technologies coming on the market that are shaping this business and kind of setting the course of where we go in the future. I was reading a story just the other day about 2022 being the year of electric vehicles. And in the past, I think last year, they made up some 9% of the sales, but the market thinks that number will grow dramatically over the coming years. And so we're looking at things like electric vehicles, things like new battery storage, things like more renewables, and a lot of focus on sustainability in terms of what that means for our business. And so we're finding ways to make sure we incorporate this new technology in our business. And it's creating a lot of excitement as we look at how we meet the reliability needs, the resiliency needs, all the service needs of our customers. And it's a wonderful, bright future.
Well, it's a really exciting future, as you look at where energy is going, especially focus on clean energy. But in terms of looking at the opportunities, how do you look at diversity? Diversity is top of mind with Georgia Power and Southern as well. How do you see diversity playing a role in terms of employment, entrepreneurship, as well as within the community and your role in terms of engaging in that aspect of the industry?
Yeah, Derek, at Georgia Power and all across Southern Company, diversity, equity, inclusion are key focus areas for our company, and it has been for a very long time. We have done a lot of work putting together a real structured framework that makes sure that we're doing a lot of listening and engagement with our employees, with our communities, and understanding the work that we need to do. And I think puts us on a path to make sure that we're making the right kind of commitments for the long haul and not just making short-term decisions, but saying, this is the way that we have to do business and we'll do business going forward. And a big part of that is, how do we make sure that from our recruiting, from all of our talent initiatives, that we are focused on increasing the level of diversity in our company. And so it's a big commitment. It's some wonderful work, but it also reflects kind of the demographic changes that we see in the communities we serve, in the states where we operate, and all across this country. I mean, there's a lot of demographic shift that's taking place, and we must address that and accommodate that inside of our businesses.
Well, in terms of looking at, a commitment, Southern made a commitment, $25 million to the Propel Center. And that's going to, engage HBCUs. That's going to engage students so that they can get on the pathways to having an impact in the industry. Share with me how Propel came about, and where do you see the growth of that center and the impact of that center in the future?
Yeah, Derek, one of the things we've made a real significant commitment to historically Black colleges and universities, because we recognize fully the role they play and how they educate students who some otherwise would not go to college. And so we look at the opportunity that with them graduating, with them picking up new skills and learning new subject matters, that it positions them to go find jobs in companies and in business and all across this country, that as they make those choices and make those decisions, it can change their life. And so we looked around and we'd heard conversations with some other business partners, and there were a lot of conversations about their inability to find diverse talent. And so a lot of times when I hear that, I feel like it's excuses to avoid responding to the real opportunities of pursuing a diverse workforce. But one of the things we decided to do was, let's make sure that we are aligning ourselves and working very closely with HBCUs to help ensure that their curriculums, their coursework was aligning with the needs of the business community. And one of the things that we see today in so many businesses and in so many industries is the importance of technology. Things like data analytics, things like more engineering, STEM kinds of activities. And so we decided to put together with Apple what we call Propel, which will be this digital learning hub that will connect all historical Black colleges and universities all across the country to provide some distant learning, some virtual learning opportunities, but also create a network that will also do some in-house curriculum at the Propel Center located here in Atlanta to create sharing, to create networks, to create an opportunity for businesses and students to come together to kind of collaborate and decide they may want to join up and connect and create a kind of employee relationship. And so we're excited about what's forthcoming here. We think that it's a great opportunity to match up the needs of many businesses with a source of diverse talent. And so it's something that we're very excited about and look forward to the continued advancements that we're making with the Propel Center.
Well, the Propel Center sounds like it will help HBCUs, better instruct, students so that they can get on the pathway to really having an impact in the energy industry and looking across different sectors of the energy industry.
Yeah, and it's not just energy, Derek. Mike said, I think as beneficial as this will be and the opportunity to change the lives of many students, I think there's a real opportunity to help change the makeup of many businesses because they will have a well-developed, a well-qualified workforce, a group of employees they can draw on to come in and make immediate contributions to their businesses. So I think it's a wonderful win-win for the business community, but it's also a wonderful opportunity for students of historically Black colleges and universities.
You, in terms of your role, you look at a variety of different areas. Share with us what is happening in the area of nuclear power. You have a very exciting program that's going on, the introduction of new nuclear energy and facilities. And I think that's something that our audience will be really excited to hear about.
Yeah, Derek, we're really excited. We're in the midst of constructing the first 2 nuclear units in this country in over 30 years. The nuclear industry, nuclear power is a wonderful source of energy in this country. It's base load. I mean, it's the first source of energy that gets put on the grid. And so we're excited about this new opportunity to bring these 2 nuclear units online. And so this country we lost our way from nuclear power, but we here at Georgia Power and Southern Company, we're excited about this investment we're making and going through this process of getting these 2 units done and making sure that we get them done right. It will be a wonderful source of carbon-free energy that will serve the state of Georgia for some 60 plus years. It will serve this state very well. It will serve our company very well, but I think will also be important and will be a wonderful contribution to this country and help revitalize and reinvigorate the nuclear industry for the future.
Well, the real piece that's going to be a part of all these innovations, as you talk about nuclear energy, electric vehicles, will still go to the talent pipeline. We talked about the introduction of the talent pipeline, but can you share a bit about the elevation of the talent pipeline? You are in the role of CEO. Where can we see a future of the energy industry, technology industry, with more African Americans positioned as you are, as the CEO of thriving subsidiaries and enterprises within the space?
Yeah, Derek, one of the opportunities we have is to continue to tell our story and tell kind of what the future of this business looks like and how exciting it is. I mean, this is not your mom, your granddad's kind of energy company going forward. It's a real new adventure, fundamentally built on technology and with a real heavy emphasis tied to the needs of our customers and responding to their requests and doing it in a way that's clean, safe, reliable, and affordable. And so we're excited about what comes ahead. Yeah, I mean, from a diversity standpoint, yeah, I mean, I will spend a lot of time telling the story about our company and interacting with a lot of students on college campuses, giving commencement addresses, doing various lectures and seminars to talk about the future in this business and in our companies and highlighting what the opportunities are and the career paths that exist in our company and showing everybody, no matter what race you are, what color you are, what gender you are, but demonstrating that there's opportunity for you inside of our business, inside of our company. And so making sure that we get out and tell that story, create enthusiasm, create interest for workers and for students to come join us on this journey. And that's one thing I'm excited about, to talk about my path, to talk about my journey, coming from rural South Alabama, never knowing what a CEO did or what a CEO looked like, to being where I am today, sharing that story and hopefully exciting others to pursue a very, very similar course.
Chris, as we wrap up, what advice would you provide the young professionals that want to rise in the industry? I know you're excited about it. I know you're energetic about it and almost evangelical about it, which I think is extremely positive. But provide 3 pieces of advice that you would share with young professionals getting in the field and wanting to rise within the energy industry.
Well, it's not just in the energy industry, it's in any business. And my foundational element is you can't be afraid to work hard. You got to put the work, you got to put the work in. You got to learn the business, you got to understand your job and not worry about what may come in the future, but make sure that you are doing a good job in the job that you have. If you do that, there's a good chance that you will get another opportunity. The other part for me has been curiosity in terms of learning the business, looking around corners, looking what may be in the future, kind of reaching out, being a visionary, understanding, what the future may hold. And so I think those kind of things, they also keep you excited about the work that you're doing. And then also don't be afraid to take a risk. I mean, I listened to Earl Graves for so many evenings and so many days talking about his decision to start Black Enterprise Magazine. And so having that level of curiosity, but having that willingness to step out and take a risk, have a good business plan to create a venture that would be very long lasting. So those are some of the things, Derek, that I think are very important to students, to young kids as they grow up, as they decide what they want to be. And don't be afraid. Jump in, be fully engaged, work hard. And I honestly believe good things will come your way.
This has been a powerful conversation. Thank you for joining us. And I look forward to seeing more under your stewardship in terms of innovation and growth at Georgia Power and Southern as a whole.
Thanks, Derek.
To our next session, a conversation on the value of historically Black colleges and universities as the major incubator for brilliant African-American talent and leadership. To discuss how HBCUs will help remake global industry, I talked with Dr. David Thomas, president of Morehouse College, the institution that for more than 150 years has prepared young Black men to change the world. Internationally recognized for his expertise in organizational management and higher education leadership, Dr. Thomas is a noted academic scholar, award-winning author, and top business consultant for leading corporations. At Morehouse, his strategic direction has extended its reach through record-breaking fundraising, launch of online degree programs, and positioning the institution as a center for global leadership, professional equity, social justice, and innovation. Dr. Thomas, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Derek.
This is such an honor. You lead one of the most prominent HBCUs in the nation, Morehouse College, the alma mater of Martin Luther King Jr. And to start us off, I'd just like you to share the history, the mission of Morehouse, and then also, I know your leadership of Morehouse is a very personal story to you, and if you can share that, that would be, I think that would enlighten our audience.
Yeah. So it's a wonderful moment for you to ask me that question, because we just finished celebrating Founders Week for Morehouse College. And this is our 155th year of being of service to this nation and the country.
Congratulations.
And in that 155 years, we have pursued one mission: to develop men with disciplined minds who will lead lives of leadership and service. And I think if the proof is in the pudding, our evidence is very clear. Martin Luther King is an alum of Morehouse College, class of 1948. And what we like to say here at Morehouse, and I think we're right, is that much of the world knows Morehouse because they know King, but if there was no Morehouse, there would be no King. Because those tenets of disciplined mind, leadership, service have anchored this university's mission, focused on Black men. And the way I like to describe Morehouse is that we are the only institution of higher education in the world focused on the development of Black male excellence at scale. My own story with Morehouse, what brought me here, it took me 50 years to get here, because I was born in the 50s, grew up in the 60s. No one in my family had gone to college, but my father told me if I did what he did, if I went to college, I wouldn't have to do what he did for a living, which was be a laborer. So I decided I was going to college. And I read that Martin Luther King had gone to Morehouse. I was about 10 years old, shortly before he was assassinated. And when it was time to apply to college, I applied to Morehouse. I applied to another school I had never heard of that was called Yale. I got into both. Morehouse didn't give me any money, scholarship, and Yale gave me a full ride. I followed the money. And 4 years ago, I finally made it here as president of the college.
That opportunity to lead, that opportunity to, be educated by some of the most brilliant minds, a dedication to excellence. Obviously those are the hallmarks of Morehouse, but also that's instilled in HBCU graduates and students across the board. That they're going to be in competitive environments and that they have to, step up to meet those competitive environments, and then they excel, which is really, which was really amazing. And now we're seeing a flow over the last few years of even more African-American students coming into HBCUs. Share your thoughts about that. Why has that been such a phenomenon that we've seen over the last few years?
Well, I think first of all, the conversation about race in our nation has become much more central and centered. And I think that there's also a realization coming in the Black community that white is not better. And what we need to do with our young people today is place them in environments that will ask the best of them. And then you put that in the cultural context of Black culture is really central to American youth culture. And so I think it's created an awakening among young Black people who, quite frankly, 10 years ago, an excellent performing African-American student at many of the best high schools in this country, their college counselor would never have mentioned the HBCU to them. Today, those students are walking in asking about Morehouse. They're asking about Spelman. They're asking about Norfolk State. They're asking about Howard. And that has elevated, you know, the attraction for these institutions. And I think among young people, it's very interesting. And I have children who are in their 20s and who recently finished college. And I see a sense of them almost, they don't articulate it this way, but there's a kind of political consciousness among them about wanting to reappropriate the ownership of their cultural identity and to take it out of the realm of simply being a cultural commodity that anyone can possess, and to see it as a matter of identity. And, you know, we see it happening on all kinds of levels. I mean, you know, my gridiron buddy, Deion Sanders, has changed the game, flipped the script in athletics. We've got top tier D1 recruits turning down Alabama, Georgia, Florida State, and they're going to HBCUs.
Well, in fact, our sponsor, Southern, has invested $50 million in HBCUs, 25 million of that in the Propel Center in Atlanta, where Morehouse is, you know, positioned. Morehouse is historically the historic home of Morehouse, let me say. And so, share with me how the Propel Center has been impactful, and how has it been received by the students and the faculty, and by the you know, the corporations that have come through Morehouse and some of the other institutions in Atlanta?
I think there are that's a big question, Derek. So I'll try to take it in chunks.
Okay.
Let me start with the Southern Company. You know, the Southern Company has realized that there are more historically Black colleges and universities in the geographic footprint of the Southern Company than almost any other company in the country that operates on a regional basis. So it's a business decision for them to say, let's invest in historically Black colleges and universities, because what do? They invest in the people who will be our workforce. And the Southern Company is not just interested in investing in people who come and work for the Southern Company, but in that population. So the Propel Center is focused on giving our students and also being an epicenter for education around entrepreneurship for all the HBCUs in this region. And also being a local engine for supporting businesses and facilitating the relationship between HBCUs and their business communities. It's been very well received here. Our students are excited and engaged by it. They've also mounted it in a way that it's not duplicative or competitive with what we do, but supplements it and provides our students and faculty easy access to opportunities and experiences that, quite frankly, I don't have the resources to provide out of the coffers of Morehouse, right? But that some of the elite liberal arts colleges I compete with, they actually have the funds to create their own version of the Propel Center. So it's very much a way for us to aid our students in the ways they need to be competitive with the best of the best when they leave Morehouse College.
A driver in technology as well as innovation, business and entrepreneurial innovation.
Right, right.
But Morehouse as an institution has driven investment. You've launched your $500 million capital campaign. Already you've received $200 million. What has attracted donors, and what is your pitch that persuades donors to make that level of investment?
Well, first, I try to get donors to come visit our campus. Quite frankly, Derek, our largest gifts since I've been here have come from individuals who did not know Morehouse before they visited. And before they get to my office, I have them interact with my students. And by the time they get to my office, they are usually sold on the value proposition that Morehouse is a unique place focused on the development of Black men in the most important years of their lives. And, one of my largest donors, he came here, never been to Morehouse, historically Black college, very hard, I shouldn't say hard, but he's a guy, he doesn't like fluff. He has very hard questions. So he hung out with a group of my students for a half a day. And he asked them questions like, preamble. If you leave Morehouse, you're going to go into a world that's not predominantly Black. If you go into the business world, how is this helping you prepare for that? My students responded. And he was blown away. We also respond with the data, where our students go after they graduate and what they've done. Most of them operate in a world that's not predominantly Black, and they succeed at extraordinary levels. So that's the first part of the value proposition. And the second part of the value proposition is imagine what Morehouse could do if we were resourced at a level commensurate with our contribution to the society. And that really takes us beyond the borders of Morehouse. So for example, this last year, we launched the first globally available undergraduate degree program offered by a historically Black college. And our focus was on men who have some college but never completed. Turns out there are 3.4 million Black men with some college but no degree in our country. And we know that having a college degree correlates with all kinds of positive outcomes over the course of one's lifetime. And we talk about the kinds of things that we can do here on our campus and beyond, given our unique brand and capabilities to work with, you know, this population of Black men, and quite frankly, more broadly, men of color, because we're not exclusive to Black men in our admissions, but they are the dominant population that we have served.
You know, continue to be an exemplar of Black excellence on many levels. I have one last question. As part of today's summit, we have a Morehouse alumnus that's participating, Senator Raphael Warnock. We also have Representative Terry Sewell. Share with us how bringing together, you know, partnerships of government, academia, and corporations impact diverse talent as well as inclusive innovation. You know, this partnership with HBCUs, how does it drive those elements?
Well, the reality there, Derek, is just our nation has shown time and time again that it is at its best when government, business, and our great educational institutions all come together to move forward on any singular task of national importance. And I liken the task of creating the workforce and inclusive economy of the 21st century as being on the same plane as putting a man on the moon. And if you think about it, when President Kennedy said, we're going to put a man on the moon, which no one could imagine, it was a coalition of government, our political apparatus, our business community, and our institutions of higher education, who produced an extraordinary number of amazing scientists between 1960 and 1975, who were also the brains behind other inventions that had nothing to do with getting to the moon, like the internet, right? And so now we see a similar moment where we're recognizing that for this nation to be competitive, we've got to educate our entire community of citizens. We've got to bring together business, government, and our educational institutions if we're really going to be successful. So to me, this is a moonshot.
And as we look at this moonshot and other developments in the future, I am sure that Morehouse will be among the institutions that are leading and driving those developments. Dr. Thomas, thank you so much for this informative and inspirational conversation. I look forward to following up with you in the future, to talk about many more moonshots. We will discuss the power of partnerships. I'm joined by two of the foremost authorities on the value of bringing together private industry, government, and academia to drive industrial evolution, talent diversity and development, and equitable career and business opportunities. Congresswoman Terry Sewell and Anthony Oney, founder of the Propel Center. Let me share a bit about our speakers. Congresswoman Sewell is the first Black woman to ever serve in the Alabama congressional delegation. In addition to her numerous leadership positions, she serves as vice chair of the bipartisan congressional HBCU caucus and sits on the exclusive House Ways and Means Committee. Anthony is a managing partner and CEO of the Elevate Future Fund at Energy Impact Partners, a thought leader in the areas of digital strategy and entrepreneurship. He has more than 20 years of experience in developing strategic initiatives at Southern, including EdFarm and the Propel Center, a learning hub and business incubator for HBCU students that was backed by Southern and Apple. Congresswoman Sewell, Anthony, thank you for joining us today. I look forward to this conversation. Congresswoman Sewell, we're going to start with you. You are the first Black valedictorian of Selma High School. You've been a graduate with honors of Princeton University, Oxford University, Harvard Law School. You're the first African-American woman to be a part of the Alabama congressional delegation. So I know that education is a passion for you. Share with us why it's a passion and why it's important to the communities and constituency that you serve.
Well, first, I just want to thank you and Black Enterprise for putting this panel together, this webinar together. For me, education and public service go hand in hand. My parents were educators. My mom was a high school librarian and my dad a high school basketball coach at the public high school, the one public high school in Selma High School. So it was a good thing that I was smart because I got no dates. But at any rate, my mom was the first African-American woman to sit on the city council in Selma. And she comes from a long line of educators as well as preachers. And the same is true with my dad. And so, frankly, public service and education went hand in hand in my house. And for me, it was a means by which I got to really better myself and my family. It was through education that I got a chance to go to Princeton and Oxford and Harvard Law School, and doing well in education that helped me. But I also know that to whom much is given, much is required. And giving back has always been a really big part of my foundation. When I think about representing Selma and Birmingham and Montgomery, these amazing historic cities in Congress, I know that the foundation upon which I stand are those heroes and sheroes, many unknown. I mean, I think all of us know of John Lewis, whose birthday was just recently passed. And I think that it's important that for me, that I pay it forward. Those of us who stand on the shoulders of these amazing giants, really owe it to them to pay it forward and help the next generation achieve even higher heights. So for me, education has always been the means by which I've been able to do public service, and also the means by which I've been able to travel and really help my constituents as well.
Share a bit of your background and why Ed Farm and Propel Center are so vital.
Hey, Derek, thank you. I will say first off, as we're talking about Black history, we have to celebrate the work that you've done and the work that Black Enterprise has done in amplifying the Black voices in America and really globally. So I've been a longtime fan and reader and viewer, and so really glad to be here with you today along with Congressman Sewell. So thank you for the opportunity. For me, education, runs deep. My father is an educator. He started teaching at A&T University when I was young. I was also now a professor and serving as dean at Tuskegee University. So growing up, most of my childhood was spent on HBCU campuses in North Carolina and in Alabama. And it's probably one of the most fun memories I've had. Seeing a sea of Black and brown faces does something for the soul. So as I've, grown up, I remember quite vividly attending lectures. My dad would drag me during the summers and we'll go to the campuses and listen to, him teach and others teach students. And I can't think of a more noble profession in the world than preparing the next generation of students to tackle the world ahead. So that's been imbued in me. That's been a really important part of my life. And, as I fast forward, my time at Southern Company, where we do have a large number of HBCUs and really a lot of educational initiatives that we are focused on. I'm really fortunate to have worked for a company that really understands, I think at its core and root, the importance that education has, not only in the work that we do every day in providing power to many, but also in what it means for society. And more importantly, I think HBCUs as well. I think we've all come to appreciate and recognize that HBCUs is key to the fabric of our nation. We understand, quite frankly, the historical impacts that many folks who've come from HBCU has made on the world stage. And so as we're thinking about going forward, these investments and these opportunities are really key. And so I think for me, growing up, with HBCU, through my father, spending time on these campuses, really wanted to make sure that, as I live my life, that I am doing what I can to help further, these important institutions in our country.
Give us give our audience a better idea of how the Ed Farm was set up, how Propel Center was set up, and the intended impact of both of those initiatives.
Hey, thank you, Derek, for that question. Education has been part of my life for quite some time, as I shared around the work that my father had done in teaching at A&T University and Tuskegee University. So the Ed Farm initiative really came about as an extension of the Connect Ed initiative that was started during the Obama administration. And really here the focus is this infusion of innovation and technology in the classroom, but really focus on the teachers and ensuring that the teachers have the capability, the knowledge, and the know-how to use these tools to transform these classrooms. Fast forward to my time at Southern Company, working with Chris Womack and the Southern team around, how to create bigger impacts around HBCUs. At the time, we were thinking about this $50 million initiative to support HBCUs, and Chris really encouraged us to think bigger around the impact that we can make. And I think, as you know, Southern Company has this historic support for HBCUs across its region, and even HBCUs outside of its territory. So the Propel Center is this attempt to augment the already great work that is taking place at HBCUs. It is focused on really three main pillars. One is this co-design curriculum with the likes of Southern Company and Apple and the other Fortune 100 companies that we're bringing to bear so that things like artificial intelligence or the clean energy transition, those companies who are leading those efforts get to work with the Propel Center to design curriculum for those HBCU students. So when they graduate, they're not skipping a beat. They can slot right in and create impact right away. The second is around economic pathways and economic opportunities. We do know that HBCUs are a vital stream to prosperity in the US. We want to make sure that whether you're a freshman on campus or a senior on campus, that if you have that great idea, that Propel Center can work to enhance those capabilities, work to provide you not only with curriculum, but also funding, so that a student at Tugelo University can create something with a student at Morehouse and create that next generation of company that can chart the course for future. And then lastly, leadership. Leadership is an important component. And we really want to enhance the already great work taking place on HBCUs across campus and making sure that we can amplify that through that engagement. And this is going to be done through this virtual learning platform that's going to be part of the Propel Center. So we're really excited about what this notion of accelerated learning can do to transform the lives and prosperity for HBCU students by giving them specialized access, training, mentorship to participate fully in this global knowledge economy.
Currently, we are, as a top priority of the caucus, trying to get through Ignite Excellence. It's a bill that would also partner and go very well with Biden's bipartisan infrastructure bill by promoting infrastructure on HBCU campuses. That infrastructure is not only better dormitories and better classrooms, but also research and development opportunities, which would really pair well with what Anthony was saying about Alabama Power's efforts in promoting Black entrepreneurship and Black innovation. So I think that the opportunity to leverage federal dollars, taxpayer dollars, to really improve the academic conditions and structural barriers, infrastructure barriers on HBCU campuses is something that we're singularly focused on right now.
Yeah, you talked about infrastructure and Anthony, I'd like you to jump in. One of the areas that has been addressed or that's being addressed is, in some of our institutions, the limited broadband connectivity. Share with us what is being done to, further upgrade facilities so that, students, faculty can engage in the innovation that's needed for the next leg of, science and technology and STEM careers.
Yeah, I'll start off, but I'll tell you that there's a lot more work that needs to be done. I think we all realized on the onset of COVID just how much the digital divide affected disproportionately students of color across the entire country. When you had to shut down and go straight to virtual, there were many kids and students and also teachers who did not have access to broadband or internet or the right kind of equipment or webcams, all the things needed to facilitate digital learning. So we recognize that, that is a gap and is a growing gap, especially that for African Americans and people of color. So I think part of what we think about going forward, which is one of the reasons why I think Southern Company and many others that are leaning in making these type of investments, whether they're in Propel Center or the critical infrastructure that's needed to close this digital divide and enhance education is so important. We want to think about how to recapitalize dollars in a way that builds towards that future. And one of the things I'm very excited about the Propel Center is not only are we going to have a physical center of excellence here in Atlanta, but through virtual connectivity and through the partners that we're bringing on, we want to make sure that we're connecting to each and every single HBCU, making sure that we're using the modern tools and the devices today to connect to each and every HBCU student and rethink how education is being accessed.
Well, Anthony, you've been a driver of emerging industries, participation in emerging industries. Share with us some information and guidance on your Elevate Future Fund You look at clean technology, clean energy, emerging technologies. How is this fund going to help bring about and diversify the participants in those industries?
Hey, thank you, Derek, for that question. And just to highlight again, I think just an important role that Southern companies played in leadership, and in this case, leadership in the clean energy economy are ahead. So the Elevate Future Fund is a fund that is focused on providing venture equity, venture capital to diverse founders working in the clean energy space. Now, if you think about the clean energy space and this transition around sustainability, I will tell you firsthand that it is going to be one of the largest economic shifts that we'll see in our lifetime. Because right now we're sitting on over $70+ trillion of committed capital globally in this transition. And so when we think about generational wealth and economic impact, it's imperative that people of color get to be part of this new economy. And then secondly, one of the things that I think is extremely important is in order to solve these issues, in order to have an adequate solve around the climate justice and other environmental issues that we see today, it's imperative that we are inviting and including people of color in solving these issues. We will have an incomplete solve to climate change or the energy transition unless we're making sure that we are bringing along the brightest minds in our country to participate. And we know that HBCUs have been a center of excellence for this for quite some time. And so we recognize that through the Elevate Future Fund, what we're looking to do is making sure that when it comes to access to capital, and we know the stats, 1% of founders of color don't get venture funding. We know that over 93% of all venture funding that comes out is controlled by white males. So we want to make sure that more people of color have check writing authority, more people of color participate in what is going to be the largest economy in the future. And our fund, the Elevate Future Fund, is part of that transition.
I think that our job in Congress is to utilize, taxpayers' money in the best way possible to promote all of the amazing things that we want to encourage: innovation, better educational opportunities, closing the wealth gap and economic opportunities, even international and global competitive opportunities. All of those are ways that are areas that we as African Americans must be viable players. And it's going to take more than just the federal government providing pools of resources. Even if the funding is there, if we're not able to leverage that funding, if those entrepreneurs are not there, able to, developed and talents are there to be able to take use of that, it's for naught. So that's why I think leveraging both public and private partnerships to benefit this pipeline, this access issue, which is a serious issue.
Okay. Well, Congresswoman Sewell, Anthony, thank you for participating in this summit, and also thank both of you for your contributions in driving diverse talent as well as inclusive innovation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a wrap for Investing in Tomorrow Today, brought to you by Southern Company and Black Enterprise. I hope you've gained a better understanding of the future of energy, development of a diverse talent pipeline for emerging tech-driven industries, and the importance of investing in inclusive innovation. I would like to thank our speakers for their dynamic presentations, delivering nuggets of relevant information and insight. I would also like to recognize and extend our appreciation again to our sponsor, Southern, for their investment in this powerful event. Lastly, I would like to thank you for attending our event and being a great audience. If you missed any of these valuable sessions or have an interest in viewing them again, we have made all content available on blackenterprise.com. In closing, stay safe, stay strong, and continued success with your professional and entrepreneurial pursuits.